James Potter. The Trials of Tripgle the Tempter. Written by James Pullen. Chapter 1. The Arrival of the Prince. The sun hung low over the horizon, casting long shadows across the lush meadows of Eldoria. James Potter, now a seasoned guardian of the land, stood at the edge of the Eldergrove courtyard, his eyes scanning the distant path. A sense of anticipation hung in the air, a whisper of change on the wind. As the sun dipped below the tree line, a procession of riders emerged from the shadows, their banners fluttering in the gentle breeze. At their head rode a young man, his regal bearing unmistakable, his eyes shining with a wisdom beyond his years. He dismounted gracefully, his gaze meeting James's with a mixture of curiosity and determination. "Greetings, James Potter," he said, his voice smooth and melodic. "I am Prince Pullen of Pullen Grange, in the land of the Weeds. I have come seeking your aid." James bowed respectfully, his hand resting on the hilt of the arcane scepter. "Welcome, Prince Pullendor. What brings you to Eldoria?" Pullendor's expression darkened, and he spoke of a growing darkness in his homeland, a shadow that threatened to consume the very essence of the Weeds. A being known as Tripgle the Tempter has risen, his power fueled by the corruption of the Stone of Wisdom. He seeks to bend all to his will, to plunge our land into chaos and despair. James listened intently, his mind racing. The Stone of Wisdom was a relic of immense power, said to grant its wielder unparalleled insight and control over the elements. In the wrong hands, it could be a force of unimaginable destruction. "Tripgle the Tempter," James murmured, a chill running down his spine. "We will face him, and we will prevail. Eldoria stands with Pullen Grange." Chapter 2. The Journey to the Weeds. With Prince Pullendor's arrival, James assembled his trusted companions, Lily, Sir Duke, Astra, and Caliban. Together, they prepared for the journey to the land of the Weeds, their hearts heavy with the weight of their new mission. As they set out, the landscape shifted from the lush greens of Eldoria to the vibrant, almost iridescent hues of the Weeds. The air was thick with the scent of exotic flowers, and the ground beneath their feet was soft, as if carpeted with velvet. Pullendor led them through winding paths, his knowledge of the terrain unmatched. Days turned into weeks, and the group encountered numerous challenges: treacherous ravines, enchanted thickets, and creatures born of the Weeds, unique magic. Through it all, they remained steadfast, their bond unbreakable, their resolve unwavering. Finally, they reached the outskirts of Pullen Grange, a city of towering spires and shimmering domes. But even from a distance, they could sense the darkness that hung over it, a pall of dread that seemed to seep into their very souls. Chapter 3. The Shadow of Tripgle. As they entered the city, the once vibrant streets were now shrouded in a sickly green mist, and the air crackled with an unsettling energy. Pullendor led them to the heart of Pullen Grange, where a massive obelisk stood, its surface pulsating with an eerie light. This was the Stone of Wisdom, now corrupted by Tripgle's dark influence. "The Tempter has taken control of the stone," Pullendor explained, his voice heavy with sorrow. "He uses its power to bend the will of all who stand against him. We must find a way to purify the stone and break his hold over the Weeds." James nodded, his grip tightening on the arcane scepter. "We will. Together, we will restore balance to your land." As they approached the obelisk, a figure emerged from the shadows, tall and gaunt, his eyes burning with a malevolent intelligence. Tripgle the Tempter, draped in robes that seemed to absorb the very light around him, stepped forward, a sickly grin spreading across his face. "Welcome, welcome," he rasped, his voice like the grinding of stones. "I have been expecting you. But know this: the power of the Stone of Wisdom is mine, and with it, I shall reshape the Weeds in my image." Chapter 4. The Battle for the Stone. The battle that ensued was unlike any James and his friends had faced before. Tripgle's power was immense, his control over the corrupted Stone of Wisdom granting him dominion over the elements themselves. Earth trembled, wind howled, and fire raged as he unleashed a torrent of dark magic upon them. James and his companions fought back with all their might, their spells and strategies honed by countless trials. Lily wove intricate webs of light, attempting to sever Tripgle's connection to the stone. Sir Duke and Caliban stood as a bulwark, their strength and skill a shield against the Tempter's onslaught. Astra created illusions, confusing and disorienting their foe, while Pullendor, drawing on the residual power of the stone, channeled bursts of pure energy, striking at Tripgle's defenses. But for every blow they landed, Tripgle seemed to grow stronger, his laughter echoing through the city as he fed on their desperation. The battle raged on, a stalemate of wills and power, until James realized that brute force alone would not be enough. They needed to disrupt Tripgle's control over the stone, to sever the dark bond that fueled his power. Chapter 5. The Purification. With a shout, James called for a momentary retreat, his friends falling back to his side, their breaths coming in ragged gasps. "We need to find a way to purify the stone," he said, his mind racing. "If we can break Tripgle's hold on it, we can turn the tide of this battle." Pullen nodded, his eyes gleaming with determination. "There is an ancient ritual, a purification rite that could cleanse the stone of its corruption. But it requires a great sacrifice, a willingness to embrace the darkness within oneself and transform it into light." James looked at his friends, seeing the same resolve reflected in their eyes. "We will do whatever is necessary. For Eldoria, for the weeds, and for the balance of all things." Together, they approached the obelisk once more, this time with a new purpose. Pullendor began the ritual, his voice rising and falling in a melodic chant, his hands weaving complex patterns in the air. James and his companions joined in, their voices blending in harmony, their wills focused on the task at hand. As the ritual reached its climax, a blinding light erupted from the obelisk, a beacon of pure, radiant energy that cut through the darkness like a knife. Tripgle screamed, his form wavering as the light tore through him, severing his connection to the stone of wisdom. The corrupted energy that had fueled his power dissipated, and with a final, desperate cry, he crumbled to dust, his presence banished from the weeds. Chapter 6. The Restoration. In the aftermath of the battle, the sickly green mist that had shrouded Pullenaire Grange began to lift, replaced by a soft, golden light that seemed to emanate from the very heart of the city. The stone of wisdom, now purified, pulsed with a warm, inviting glow, its power restored to its true, benevolent purpose. James and his friends stood amidst the ruins, their bodies aching from the exertion, but their spirits soaring with the knowledge of their victory. They had faced the darkness and emerged triumphant, their bond stronger than ever. Pullendor turned to James, his eyes shining with gratitude and respect. "You have saved my homeland, James Potter. The people of the weeds will forever be in your debt." James smiled, his hand resting on the arcane scepter. "We are all guardians of this world, Prince Pullendor. Together, we will ensure that light prevails over darkness, and that the balance of all things is maintained." As they made their way back to Eldoria, the sun setting over the vibrant hues of the weeds, James knew that their journey was far from over. But for now, they could rest, secure in the knowledge that they had faced the darkness and emerged victorious. Together, they would continue to guard the realms, their legend etched forever in the annals of time, a testament to courage, friendship, and the enduring power of light against shadow. Chapter 7. The Echoes of Tripgle. As James and his companions returned to Eldoria, they carried with them not only the memory of their victory but also a lingering sense of unease. The defeat of Tripgle the Tempter had been decisive, but the darkness that had corrupted the stone of wisdom seemed to have left an indelible mark on the land of the weeds. Whispers of lingering shadows and unsettling dreams began to circulate among the villagers, and James knew that their work was far from done. One evening, as the group gathered in the Eldergrove courtyard, Professor Elowin approached them, her expression grave. "James, I have been studying the ancient texts, and there is something you should know. The darkness that Tripgle wielded was not entirely vanquished. It has retreated, but it is not destroyed. There is a prophecy that speaks of a time when the shadows of the past will rise again, seeking to reclaim what was lost." James listened intently, his mind racing with the implications. "What do we do, Professor? How do we prepare for this?" Elowin placed a hand on his shoulder, her gaze steady and reassuring. "You have faced great challenges before, James. Trust in your instincts, in the power of the Wand of Legends, and in the strength of your friendships. The path ahead may be fraught with danger, but you are not alone. Together, you will find a way to protect Eldoria and all the realms beyond." Chapter 8. The Gathering of Allies. In the days that followed, James and his friends set out on a new mission, one that would take them to the far corners of the known world. They sought out ancient allies, wise sages, and powerful guardians, hoping to forge a united front against the encroaching darkness. Their journey took them through enchanted forests, across treacherous mountains, and even to the depths of the whirling vortexes that lay beyond the edges of reality. In the mystical realm of the Silver Woods, they met with the Elven Queen, her eyes shimmering with ancient wisdom. She spoke of the delicate balance of the world and the importance of unity in the face of adversity. The shadows you speak of are not new, James Potter. They have risen before, and they will rise again. But as long as there are those who stand for the light, there is hope. Further on, they encountered the dragon lords of the Flame Peaks, their scales glinting like molten gold. The dragons, with their unparalleled strength and fiery breath, pledged their allegiance, promising to scorch the skies and lay waste to any who dared threaten the realms. Finally, they journeyed to the Crystal Caverns, where the ancient dwarven kings forged weapons of unmatched power. The dwarves, with their unyielding resolve and mastery of the earth, vowed to stand as an unbreakable bulwark against the encroaching darkness. As James and his companions returned to Eldoria, they did so with a renewed sense of purpose and a growing army of allies at their back. The shadows of the past may have retreated, but they knew that the battle for the future was just beginning. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, their spirits unbroken, their wills unyielding, and their hearts filled with the unshakable bond of friendship and duty. Chapter 9. The Whispers in the Wind. As the seasons turned and the leaves of Eldoria began to change color, a new sense of urgency gripped the land. The whispers that had once been mere echoes now grew louder, carrying with them a chilling message. The shadows were stirring once more. James and his friends knew that the time for preparation was over, the hour of confrontation was at hand. One moonlit night, as they sat around a crackling fire in the Eldergrove courtyard, a sudden gust of wind swept through the trees, carrying with it a voice that seemed to come from the very fabric of reality. "James Potter," it whispered, its tone both beckoning and ominous. "The time has come to face the darkness that lingers. Seek the heart of shadows, and there you shall find the key to your destiny." James looked at his companions, seeing the same determination reflected in their eyes. "We must go," he said, his voice steady despite the chill that ran down his spine. "Whatever awaits us, we will face it together." Chapter 10. The Quest for the Heart of Shadows. The journey to the Heart of Shadows was fraught with peril. James and his friends traversed treacherous terrain, from the frozen peaks of the Whispering Winds to the scorching sands of the Ember Dunes. Along the way, they encountered creatures born of the darkness, twisted and corrupted by the lingering shadows of Tripgle's power. In the depths of the shadowed chasm, they faced a beast of nightmares, its form shifting and changing, a manifestation of the fears and doubts that plagued their minds. With a united front and unwavering resolve, they overcame the creature, their bond stronger than ever. As they delved deeper into the unknown, they discovered ancient ruins, relics of a time long past, when the shadows had first risen and been vanquished. Within these ruins, they found clues to the location of the Heart of Shadows, a place where the veil between light and darkness was at its thinnest. Chapter 11. The Confrontation. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of trials and tribulations, James and his companions stood before the Heart of Shadows, a cavernous abyss that seemed to swallow all light and hope. The air was thick with an oppressive energy, and the very ground beneath their feet pulsed with a malevolent rhythm. From the depths of the abyss, a figure emerged, tall and gaunt, its form wreathed in shadows that seemed to absorb the very essence of life. It was Tripgle the Tempter, or rather, a fragment of his essence that had survived, waiting for the moment when the shadows would rise again. "Welcome, James Potter," it rasped, its voice like the grinding of stones. "You have come to your end. The Heart of Shadows is mine, and with it, I shall reshape the world in my image." James stepped forward, the arcane scepter glowing brightly in his hand. "Not while we draw breath," he declared, his voice echoing with the power of his conviction. "The light will prevail, and the shadows will be banished once and for all." The battle that ensued was unlike any they had faced before. Tripgle's power was immense, his control over the darkness granting him dominion over the very fabric of reality. But James and his friends fought with the strength of their unity, their spells and strategies honed by countless trials, their wills unbreakable. Chapter 12. The Triumph of Light. As the battle raged on, James realized that brute force alone would not be enough. He needed to embrace the darkness within himself, to transform it into a beacon of light that could pierce the very heart of Tripgle's power. With a shout, he poured all his strength, all his hope, all his love for his friends and for the world, into the arcane scepter. A blinding light erupted from the scepter, a pure, radiant energy that cut through the darkness like a knife. Tripgle screamed, his form wavering as the light tore through him, severing his connection to the heart of shadows. The corrupted energy that had fueled his power dissipated, and with a final, desperate cry, he crumbled to dust, his presence banished from the realms forever. In the aftermath, the heart of shadows began to close, the abyss collapsing in on itself, swallowing the last remnants of darkness. The land around them seemed to sigh in relief, the oppressive energy lifting, replaced by a profound sense of peace and tranquility. James and his friends stood amidst the ruins, their bodies aching from the exertion, but their spirits soaring with the knowledge of their victory. They had faced the darkness and emerged triumphant, their legend etched forever in the annals of time. Chapter 13. The Eternal Guardians. As they made their way back to Eldoria, the sun setting over the horizon, James knew that their journey was far from over. But for now, they could rest, secure in the knowledge that they had faced the darkness and emerged victorious. Together, they would continue to guard the realms, their bond unbreakable, their spirit unyielding, ready to face whatever challenges the future might hold. In the years that followed, James Potter and his companions became known as the Eternal Guardians, their names whispered in awe and reverence throughout the lands. They traveled far and wide, their adventures becoming the stuff of legend, their deeds inspiring generations to come. And so, the tale of James Potter and the trials of Tripgle the Tempter came to a close, but the echo of their courage and the light of their friendship continued to shine, a beacon of hope in a world forever changed by their valor.